Morris. We got your tape. We thought I'd try this out today. This is Mary talking. I guess you can understand who's talking. Do it. Get someone with tape for you to get sent back to you. We're glad to get your tape. And I swear that I'll get you on down there too. I hope everybody's well. I thought a lot of that film. I guess she's coming along all right, is she? I'm sorry to hear about mine too. We're just wondering how the outcome will be. Glad to hear what that comes to. So Martha's home now, you know. Here with us for a while, for 2 weeks. She has off. She'll soon be going back now. I tell her soon be up May night. She goes back. And I hope you're all well. And it seems like your business come along. You're kept pretty busy. I read the way it sounds. And don't have much idle time, huh? To yourself. Well, let Daddy talk here a little bit to you. Daddy.
What am I to do now?
Take this here. Talk him.
Just I get over to you?
Yeah. Here. Sit where you are. Stay where you are.
Over there.
Stay where you are. Turn the other side around. Right in there.
Hello there, Morris. They want me to talk. I could tell you a little, I guess, what we were stirring around here a good bit in our room here since Martha came here today. I had trouble with my sunray lamp and, of course, monkeyed around there a good bit. And I guess one of the things is we found out then that I broke my other bulb. It really light. It does make a little light. You think it ain't loud enough or what?
Just put your mouth a little. That's just not about clean up like that. Go ahead.
So after we monkeyed around with it a good bit, we got it working then. I think it's going to be all right. First we thought maybe there's something wrong with the light stand and the switch. But I had to knock it over here one evening when I went to get my sunbath. So I guess so much for that. I was happy I enjoyed you talking when you were traveling. That was all right. I enjoy something like that, and the different things that you told us as you were traveling along. And of course you told us some about your family, Thelma too. I enjoyed Thelma's talking too. So appreciate very much time that we'll be coming up here. It's May already, second of May this is, and I thought maybe about the time you receive it, maybe you would even get to listen to it before you'd come up. I don't know. Of course, you wasn't altogether sure could make it either. Maybe I'd sing the song that I made here in the home, and we sang it last summer. Junior played his guitar at the Eshleman down there, Lemon played. So maybe we can, maybe I can sing that song to get an idea, a little what I'm doing here, some of the things that I do here in my room. I let Grandma turn it off a little, see what it's doing. I don't know whether it's loud enough or... God has sent His holy dove, bearing me on wings of love, to a land where hearts are ruled by Jesus Christ. we're on holy ground. Now we know we will be found when we wholly follow Christ. This will suffice. I forgot to tell you what the name of it was, Holy Pilgrimage. I call it Holy Pilgrimage. Now, of course. Will you come along right now, my friends, over in the Beulah land? It's a wonderful and beautiful land for a holy pilgrimage, for a holy pilgrimage. Jesus gives us perfect peace in this land of sweet release. From this world where Jesus died on Calvary, we could meet up with defeat. In this land we call so sweet, where Jesus wants us. Making a little mistake there. In this land where Jesus wants us all to be. Will you come along right now, my friends, over in the Beulah land? It's a wonderful and beautiful land for a holy pilgrimage, for a holy pilgrimage. In this pilgrim land we roam, looking over to our home, where our Lord is waiting in that land so fair. Heaven's glory shines so bright, flesh and blood can't stand the sight. If we're ready when he comes, we'll meet up there. Will you come along right now, my friends, over in the Beulah land? It's a wonderful and beautiful land for a holy pilgrimage, for a holy pilgrimage.
Well, it was something to get myself. It was when I was coming along pretty good. I'm not like I used to be, I'm sure that. I've quite changed. The many things I can do, you know. Sit on this wheelchair. They got a new wheelchair for me, I guess. You know that. When I run with the right hand. I hate it so bad. I can't. Sometimes I get so weary. I have so much pain in my head. But they put an extra drops in now 4 times today. I took the specimen today of urine. I was sore down there. I guess it's in the bladder. That's all I can know. Every night comes to lay down in bed because I can't stay up too long. That Martha, she has a man living here now. I think she'll want to play some for you.
Now, is it right?
Yeah.
Okay, now I want to tell you a little about another song I'm working on here lately. I've worked on it right at home. I don't think I had it on any ear tapes. But I call it Here Am I, Send Me. I don't know whether you've ever heard it or whether I sang it when I sent tape down to you or not. But now, I've been changing around some, the chorus and the tune some. We kind of got it started, Clarence's ruler asked us up there, asked me up there for Thanksgiving dinner, and then here I went and asked their daughter, 14-year-old daughter, want to work on it. She said she couldn't put the 4-part harmony to it anyhow, but she'd try, maybe she could put one row of notes as soprano. And of course, I had it sang on one of these little 3-inch reel type tapes and had it typed in the words. And she really got it, I'm so glad, I was so happy about it that she was willing to do something. She tried and made a start at it anyhow, but she flew having it on the key, through her having it on the key of C while he got me so high. And of course, maybe a 14-year-old girl singing would be just a little high. Maybe anyway, but higher what my man voice is anyway. But I think it ought to be. So I've been changing around, changing the tune of it. And, well, then I went and phoned to the lady that made some of the words. Part of the words. I made the chorus to it. She made the verses. And then I altered them some anyway. So she went and what kind of got me interested in working pretty much on it was she came over here to visit us and gave me some money toward it. And now I got to finish this part of it. I got Daniel's going to work on it. He's going to visit me every now and then, Daniel Binkley, and work on it and try to get the 4-part harmony to it. So when we're all done with it, I think Wilbur will get, at the bookstore, will get me duplicates then. So I guess I'll sing this. Martha's talking on the phone right now. I guess don't matter too much if you hear her on the background. I'll have to think now about my song. I'll turn it off a little bit. This is this here my song now. I'll sing a little of it. I think maybe I can get it, if I do have to stop a little in between. If you want me to go over the mountain, over the fall, over the trails, through the hills, or right over the plains, through the valleys, over seas, over rivers and rills. Who shall I send? Who will go for us to proclaim the gospel news? The harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Jesus died for our sins on the tree, went to heaven to intercede. When you come back again, on your face we will see. Here am I, suffer in me. Go with me, precious Lord, oh my Master, make me willing to go where you say. Lead me on and show me, oh Lord, use me in the harvest that's ready today. Whom shall I send? Who will go for us to proclaim the gospel new? The harvest true is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Jesus died for our sins on the tree, went to live, went to intercede. When you come back again, then your face we will see. Here am I, sorry me. For you are not willing they shall perish. You will not have respect of men. We are lost in your love, 'tis so precious. We would have everyone be your friend. Whom shall I send? Who will go with us to proclaim the gospel news? The harvest true is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Jesus died for our sins on the tree, went to heaven to intercede. When you come back again, then your face we will see. Here am I, send me. I was gonna check my mouth organ for the pitch of that. I guess I got maybe a little bit low after all when I noticed while I was singing it. But that's the way some things work out a little bit. We don't get everything right in our mind. So maybe Grandma and Martha have a little something more to say to you after I'm done.
No, so I just wanted to give you a few more news. I was glad to hear as you told me about Stevie, and now they have another grandchild, great grandchild that will be. And also about Larry, I guess you didn't hear about Larry. You know what trouble he had some time ago. Now this is returning again. He's in the hospital now in Philadelphia. So it broke out back on his neck, I believe they said. I heard the other day, they didn't even tell me, but I have something to pray about. And I find he claims he's ready to go. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, it means so much, you know, when one comes toward the end of their journey. So I believe that's all the news I have. I'm glad to hear your voice. Hope you can understand me.
Morris, this is Martha. I thought I'd say a few words here. We're getting ready to get going to supper, I think. And tomorrow I think we're going to try to put a little more in this tape. But I'm having a good time here. Don't see much sunshine, though. But I guess that's the way it is in the eastern part of the country. I have to go back to Colorado to see sunshine. They even have a hard time figuring out when to put the wash out. So I started washing yesterday, or at least she was thinking about it. And then she put her things away, and then the sun came out. She hurried and got her stuff out again. Anyway, that's where it's been going. Last week I took it easy. Didn't visit much or anything. Just came over here every afternoon. Now this week I have to kind of catch up with seeing some relatives on Clarence's side and the rest of my family. But some of my time's going kind of fast, but I'm enjoying myself. Come over here every afternoon. Went in Lancaster this morning, did a little shopping, and that Lancaster's getting as bad as Denver. I don't go downtown Denver anymore, but Lancaster's really crowded. Parked right in Shand and had to find some material to match a dress. And let's see, I went to a Providence bookstore to get some things. When I teach Bible school this summer, I'm going to teach 5th grade, and I wanted to get a few things that were suggested in the teacher's manual, songbook to sing in the class and a few things like that. Anyway, Mother has to go back to her room, so I'll sign off for now and we'll leave this recorder here. And tomorrow I think we'll have a little more time to work on it and get it off to you. Bye for now. Hi, this is Martha. I'm back again. I just got them fixed in the dining room. Took Mother back to her room, and she always has to go to the bathroom. And so I helped her on the commode, and she likes that better than the bedpan, and I don't blame her. And when you get used to handling her, it works pretty good. Anyway, I'm waiting on a phone call. I'm trying to make some visits tonight, and I want to make a couple visits in New Holland. And I called one party, and they said they'd call me back and let me know if they'd be home tonight. I mean, I had to leave a message with somebody else. Sometimes when I talk in this thing, I don't make too good sense. When I said I had to buy some material to match a dress, too, that was for Mother. Not sewing for myself here. I did make a dress from a pattern that she had with her things. That when we got her ready for her sale, we saved some patterns out of the whole suitcase of patterns, some that we thought she might want. And when we brought this box into this week, then she looked through them and decided there's one on there she'd try, or that she'd let us use, And when we opened up, wouldn't you know, she had never used it. She had that pattern and she never used it. I believe she probably had a lot like that. She'd order them and then she'd never get around to making it or something. But anyway, Velvet bought some material and then I made this pattern. It's not turning out the way I think it should for her. It's turning out like the pattern says, but had to change a few things, To get them on her, you have to open them down the back. That's the best, but this pattern was open down the front. And so I had to open it below the waistline, and the pattern wasn't made like that. And so I'm not a pattern maker, and so it takes a little conniving to get it to come out right. And so I have it all finished now. I have to put some snaps on. Dan's wife, that's what his son, Dan, she put the buttonholes in for me because she has a button holder. So that worked out okay. And so that's how my time is going. I had a mess in here when I came today. Brought a bulb along for his sun lamp. He told you a little bit about that. Well, when we put the bulb in, it acted just like the old bulb, so we thought it must be something wrong with the lamp and not the bulb. And then I had decided I was going to take the lamp along back and see if somebody there would work on it. But David's so busy, and I thought, well, maybe Daniel would. But then the more we discussed it, the more we said, well, maybe we should put that new bulb in again and let it stay in longer. Maybe it just acts funny like that when before it heats up good. And sure enough, I'm glad I got that notion because that's really what was wrong. And the longer we left it in, the better it worked. And he said it's more like his other was, and so I think he's satisfied now. So let's see what else must I tell you about Dad. When we walked up the dining room, he was cute. He said we were walking kind of fast, and he said he wishes he could find somebody in here who was walking fast like that. He said anybody else who lives here walks so slow or has a limp or something, And so when you come home, if you have time, why take him outside and really give him a brisk walk. That's what he likes. So he gets tired of us walking around slow, like an old man, He doesn't put himself in that class. He's not an old man. He's just blind. And he'd like to really go out there and walk, almost a trot, So if you think of it and you come home, you could walk him down around the buildings here and stuff. He had a chance to go to Wilkes-Barre the other day. I took him to Rossmere Church on Sunday. And he didn't... Well, at first he said he was going to go. He really seemed to be very excited about it. And Sam Zook invited him to go along. And then when we got back here to Lena's homes, then he got to thinking about this. Well, if he went along, he'd have to buy his lunch. Because they would, be gone over lunchtime. And he decided that he didn't want to go if he's going to have to buy his lunch. He was going to call Sam Zook back and say, how were we going to arrange that? And I said, well, Dad, you have money. We give you money. Lunch wouldn't cost that much. And he said, well, I'm paying for my meals here. I'm not going to pay for my meals two places. And sure enough, he called Sam Zook back and told him that he's not going to go because he doesn't want to buy his lunch. Kind of embarrassing, I think, to us children. It makes it look like we don't help him out. But anyway, then he told me the next day, he said, I'm glad I didn't go because they had that flood up there. And wouldn't you know, he's talking about the flood last summer. He said the roads are probably all washed out and be bumpy. And he said, with my bad back, I wouldn't want to go up there and knock my back out. So I'm glad I didn't go. So sometimes you kind of have to just, listen and not be critical. And inside you think to yourself, sounds a little funny, but anyway, that's kind of his thinking. And I guess what he wants to do with the money, even though we give it to him, is his business, So let it go at that. Sweater is really busy over there all the time. This morning when I left, she was cleaning out the pig pens. I just think that's not a woman's job, and I ought to go out and help her, I guess. But I think if David's not going to help her, then, why should I? But anyway, this is what she was doing when I left this morning. And I help her around some, but not too much, because a lot of things she does, I don't understand why she has to do them. I think that David ought to, if he's going to have pigs there, then I think that's part of his business too, and he ought to help her with it. But I'm driving Junior's car around. He's been always really good to me when I come home, and since he has this job where he flies out of town and he's gone all week, and comes back, and usually on Friday, it's really kind of a big help to me. You know, he lets me use his good car. It only has 13,000. That Gremlin he got last year, I guess he got it. It's the one he drove out to Denver to see me. But now he was going to come back Friday this week. We went down to Philadelphia last Friday to meet him. But now he called Mary, and she let me know that he's going to come into Lancaster tonight. I have to meet him at 10:10. And then he said he's going to have to go to Baltimore. He'll need his good car. So he's going to give me his little old Renault. And I'd be satisfied to drive that all the time, but he wouldn't let me do it. So we're going to do that tonight. This job he has, I don't know if you heard much about it, but it has to do with making egg cartons. And he's been down in Atlanta, Georgia, in training a lot of the time. And then when the training's all over, he will be traveling all week to different plants where they make the cartons. And not just egg cartons, but other kind, but I think he's more involved in the egg cartons. Mostly because he worked at Raymond Souders over at Livingston years ago. And he'll be maintaining and checking the factories that make them and maintaining the machines. And sounds like a good deal for him. He seems to really enjoy it. The bad part of it is he's gone all week. And Mary has a responsibility to be there at home, but she seems to be happy that he likes his job, and she said that's the main thing. And I think his children, even the ones that are at home, you know, that are real good kids, and I'm not saying you don't ever have anything to worry about, but I think they are kind of unusual in being well behaved. And like Bob, he's 16, he's just about ready to get his driver's license, he's got a permit. And I think that he's pretty well established, you know, what you're going to teach a kid, pretty well engraved by that time. And so he can be a big help, you know, and with him being able to drive. He has a job, but if him being able to drive, that's going to help Mary, maybe to get her groceries and stuff. And she can walk to work. I'm sure it's a good little distance, but she seems to enjoy that. And I was telling you last night I had supper with Aunt Esta and our cousin Mary Zimmerman. They took me to the Willows to eat, and boy, I had a big meal. I had filling. That's what I ordered. They ordered something else because Mary's on a reducing diet, but I thought I'd order something that I don't ordinarily get, so I had filling with pork, and I had corn fritters and chow chow, and for dessert I had Dutch apple. And we had a nice time. We went back to Aunt Esther's and just talked a long time. She is older than Mother, you know, and she's just, well, I wouldn't say she's real spry, but for her age she's real spry. She was out in the yard all afternoon, she said, before we came, and before she came in and cleaned up, and she was out trimming her lawn. She said she spent 3 hours out there stooping over, and she just has a hand trimmer, not electric. And she mentioned this because when we went up from the table, she said, now just girls, she called Mary and I girls, just give me time, I'm kind of stiff. I was trimming my yard all afternoon. She's just really delightful to be with. And Mary is losing weight. She's gone to Weight Watchers. She's still heavy, but she lost some. And she has some trouble with her veins and her legs and her heart, just like all the other Zimmermans. And Aunt Merle was here one day, and she hasn't changed either. She just talks on, and Amos tries to get a word in edgewise, and then she'll say, now just be quiet, I'm talking. And he never does get a good chance. But they had gone to a funeral. I don't know if you remember May White. Well, her sister Ann White died. I think her name was Moore when we knew her. But it seems to me like her husband died and she remarried. I'm not sure about all that. I can't keep our family straight. But anyhow, these are some of the things I'm doing. But every afternoon I do come over here, and we've had some good times together. I visited John and had a real nice visit. And that's when they told me about Larry, and said they didn't want to worry Mother and Dad, and I tried to explain to them that I thought it wasn't fair, that I think Mother and Dad have more time to pray for something like that than anybody else in the whole family, and that they should be allowed to know it. And he said, well, I could tell him if I wanted to, but he made it pretty clear to me what I should say, you know. I had to be careful what I said. But I did have a nice visit with them, and I was glad for that. And have a couple more now I need to see. Well, not my family, I saw all them. But not sure when I'm going to get back to Philadelphia. For the moment, I made reservations on a little commuter plane to go from Lancaster to Philly, just in case nothing else works out. because Sweta is not interested in driving to Philadelphia. She just couldn't do it and make her too nervous. And David doesn't have time during the week. See, I leave on a Wednesday. And then, well, that's about all. Junior's out of town all week, so that wouldn't work out. So I just kind of thought I'd start planning a little bit ahead. And I didn't pay for my ticket. I just made reservations. I think I'll sign off for now, and we might not fill this whole tape. You know, it takes real long to talk, to fill this one. It seems to me like it must be an hour on each side. But when I come in tomorrow, I hope I don't get in a mess with a heat lamp and Mother's dress and all that stuff, and we'll have time. Maybe we can sing some of the old-time hymns they enjoy. We did that one day last week and brought the colored lady that was in Mother's room down, and we really did have a good time. Then on Saturday, Daniel Binkley and his wife and 2 children, and Sweta and Junior and Mary and Bob and Kevin and let's see, and then just some other people that live here stopped by. And we didn't do it in Dad's room. We met out there in that lobby, not the one in the main lobby, but one of the side lobbies. And we sang. Daniel brought his guitar, and I had my mandolin. And we sang some of the old-time songs and left some requests. And Ari Miller and just different ones like that came by and sat down for maybe 10 minutes, and they'd leave. And it was just a good time. I think they enjoyed it too, because they talked about it later, how they enjoyed that. So I'm going to sign off for now, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll leave this recorder down in your Dad's room, so when I come in tomorrow, I think we can get right at it then. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye for now.
Well, Morris, now, this is Thursday in May, first Thursday in May. So I thought we'd try and fill this tape again. Now I guess you know who's talking, Mother. And I'm just going to say, when you see Daddy, while you tell him we said hello, we said you're going to get to sing. It's raining here today now. I don't know what's doing down there. Maybe sunshine. We don't get too much sunshine here once every few days. It's going to be hard on the farmers and all that. That building around here makes bad too. But they can work indoors. They're busy working out here. I guess a newsletter here or something she's looking at. We'll miss her when she goes, because I get to see her every day. I don't get to see Mother Sweta anymore, because she's busy. I guess she's filming in time while Martha's here. They're busy over at the David's much with pigs and things. So I hope you can get up in May. If you can, we'll be all right. We'll understand. I don't know much more than I have to say. Martha said there's room in this tape. We are going to get one side filled, I think, so Mr. Sullivan has something. Martha won't play a mandolin, I think. She brought along. We're enjoying that a lot. So I just got up and I said I'm going over here. Thought Martha would be over Daddy here, so she was. Nurse said she'd bring you over. So my other nurse met me out here. She said, you were trying to skip out of your sandbags, she said. So I'll catch you here today. So I have to use sandbags on my legs once today. I was down the basin this morning, knitting caps, and it's good to go down because it makes a change down there in my room. Gets away from the one that's upstairs here, gradually. They do some of these, their mind is mixed up. It kind of gets on your nerves. So I go down there. Well, they want me to go down there for a change. But they won't let me go down in the morning afternoon. They said, they notice it makes difference on me. So I'll be obedient. I stay up and I don't go down. I know the lady isn't down this afternoon anyway. I asked her if she would be. Because Martha wanted to see about some things. No. Is that true?
Yeah, I think it is. No, it's not.
Williams is different.
Marcy, I forgot about us to your birthday's coming up. So instead of sending you a card, I'm going to wish you a happy birthday. And many more. Hope you enjoy your birthday. This is one way I can say happy birthday to you. We're sitting this table anyway. I do that, so I guess.
All right. Morris, we're going to sing happy birthday to you, Mother and Dad and I. Okay?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Morris. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. And may Jesus be true. May God richly bless you and never you through.
Ready? We're just sitting here eating some strawberries that Martha, box of strawberries Martha got. Well, there's another lady visiting here, and I went over the refrigerator. I can get the refrigerator to the room where the refrigerator is now, and right inside the door there's a certain place there I keep my bag of apples, so I had these strawberries in there. Brought them along over and get an apple for tomorrow morning. I eat an apple every other day. That way it keeps me going. Another thing keeps me going so good. I never saw anything that could keep you going as good with your bowels as prune juice every morning at the breakfast table. I don't know. I guess that's about all. I might tell you a little about Marvin. I don't know whether you knew that Clarence Marvin was having some trouble. As he's getting a little older here, started to get in trouble with he kind of concentrating and when he wants to think. So he took a trip. We took a trip to Florida, and then first thing you know, I heard he was heading out more west toward Mexico. Can you just talk like that when I'm kind of disturbing me? So then, when he was going out toward, I guess the last I heard he was in California, but I hope that does him some good, that run around. I can't quite see it for myself when you run around with an automobile would kind of worry me, but I know not everybody's the same, I guess. He ain't as old as I am yet either, quite. So I guess there ain't too much else I wanted to talk about more. Maybe you remember over there in the home that at Crest Avenue yet that I sang that Revelation song to you. Changed it around some a little bit now. And maybe I could sing, give you a little idea of the tune. I might sing the first verse. I would take in Ephesus, the 7 churches of Asia, and would take in the 2 first churches, Ephrata and Smyrna, and those 7 churches. And then the way I made the chorus, I changed that around some too. Changed it, made a different tune from what I think I sang at one time, on those other kind of tapes that you sent up. But anyhow, it would give you a little of an idea, one of the things that I was working on in the home here before. To the church of Ephesus, all your good works I know, but you have lost your first love, so back there you must go. Remember, repentance is one of the things that's due, else I will your candlestick from its place remove. To the church of Smyrna, all your trials I see. You are rich in the spirit, with all your poverty. Do not fear anything, that your soul may be tried. Be thou faithful unto death, you'll receive a crown of life. Now the chorus, when I sing that chorus, I think of each one of those churches has says what it'll do, what the Lord will do to them that overcome. If you make a study, I suppose you have already. And then I try to make all those overcomings in the chorus, makes a pretty big chorus. And then 4 big verses makes a pretty big song. But the way I have the chorus is like this. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith to the churches. He that overcometh shall eat of the tree of life. He shall not be hurt of the second death. He shall eat of the hidden manna. I will give him power to rule over the nations. I will not blot out his name from the book of life. I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God. He shall sit with me on my throne. Martha and Mother's talking here. I guess I'll sing the next verse. I'll sing the next 3 verses without the chorus. I did sing the chorus here now. The next one is about Pergamos and Thyatira. To the church of Pergamos, who I hate Satan's seed, you partook of Balaam's sin, to my throne you entreat. Keep away from the sins of the Nicolaitans. Don't let others draw you in to the ways of sin. To the church, to the Thyatira church, you have defiled yourselves. You took on Jezebel's sins. You must repent or else. I am he that searcheth all the reins and the hearts. So then without repentance you shall never have a part. That's the second verse. Now the third verse is Sardis and Philadelphia. To the Sardis church I write, you still have a few names who have not defiled themselves. Strengthen yet what remains. Repent and be watchful. I will come back any hour. I am he that holdeth 7 spirits and stars. To the Philadelphia church, hold fast to what thou hast. Behold, I will come quickly. Thy crown let no man have. As you have kept my word, I'll keep you from that hour. I am he that is holy. I'll remove from you sin's power. Now the last verse would be both all on Laodicea. A good bit says in there about Laodicea. So, to the Laodicean church, you are not cold nor hot, but because you are lukewarm, I'll put you on a spot. So you say you are rich, but you are wretched and poor. Lo, behold, I set before you an open door. To the Laodicean church, be zealous and repent. Let no nakedness appear, buy of you and be spent. If you will let me in as I knock at your door, we will sup together and be together evermore. Okay, I guess that's about all I wanted to talk. Say goodbye and hope if you fly up here, you'll have a good time going out to see Laddie and you stop see Bunny, and then I hope it won't be too long till I get to see you. Okay, bye-bye.